ASU's Magnetic Resonance Research Center has remote NMR experiment access via web browsers. So going to a web browser where we have several tabs open, and assuming you are connected to the Arizona State University VPN, which is through Cisco's AnyConnect, if you don't already have this installed and have a connection to your to the ASU VPN, you can go to myapps.asu.edu, and any student, faculty, or staff can download this app for Windows, Mac, or Linux systems and have this running on your system so that you can access ASU systems. So with that running on your system, we can go and have a live view of the Magnetic Resonance Research Center. And what we're going to specifically look at here is looking at the 400 megahertz NMR. So oftentimes this live view has to be kind of updated, but we have several positions called in it. So position 5 shows you kind of the front with the 500 megahertz and 800. We're going to be looking and setting up a remote experiment on the 400 megahertz NMR system, which is shown here. And we can get a close-up view of the sample in the position that it goes into the NMR spectrometer. So it's showing the samples here. Or we can look at an overview of the LED where we can see we have samples in positions 1 through 10. And position number 1 is the one where the sample would go into the NMR spectrometer. Now the main system is using Bruker Icon Web. We'll need to log in to this system, and then from here we can set up experiments to run remotely. So for example, if we wanted to set up an experiment for sample number 8, which is acetyl-acetone in methylene chloride, we could go here, we could click on the sample we want to run. So sample number 8 here. This is summarized, the 10 samples are summarized on this Google Sheet for students. So we can choose any of these samples here, and we can add an experiment. So we're going to just do a simple 1-scan proton experiment, and we'll call this video demo of acetyl-acetone in dichloromethane. So we can give any type of information here, like we're going to run a proton 1-scan on the Bruker 400 megahertz NMR. It's going to save into that directory under experiment number 1. Again, you could choose a whole host of different experiments you wanted to run. We can give it a file name. We have to tell it, of course, the solvent that we're in this case, dichloromethane or methylene chloride. And then we can add that experiment. And once we've added all the experiments we want, we can close that window. It takes us back to this general screen. And this generally shows us in green ones that have already run, in kind of yellow with the pause are ones that need to be run but haven't been submitted yet. As soon as we click on this one, we can hit submit, and it will go to this calendar, meaning it's being scheduled to run. When it's running, it'll have kind of a blue arrow, and when it's done, it'll have this green mark next to it. And this shows you what's going on. It's putting the sample in there. We can come over here and look. So it just took sample 8 and put it into the spectrometer with the live view here. We can follow as it puts it in, locks, shims, acquires the data, etc. And we could set up now, go to different experiments and add and submit as many experiments to the queue as we want for this 400 megahertz NMR. When it's done, as long as the Spentropy username has been entered, it will automatically upload the data to spentropy.com. So here we're saving it to the ASU_Chem343, and you'll be able to find that under the Data tab where it'll upload that data. You can view that data, or to make sure it looks like what you were expecting, maybe zoom in a little bit, make sure everything looks right, and if so, you're able to download that data as a file, so as it downloads it as a zip file. With that data downloaded, you can go to NMRium and you can drag that zip file here and be able to process and look at the data. So these are all done. The live view is web browser accessible. You're able to add, submit, and schedule experiments on the 400. We have Spentropy for handling data, so data in the cloud, and we recommend NMRium for in-browser processing. So that gives you a quick overview of using only a browser to be able to remotely access, set up, run experiments, and even get your data, process, and analyze it.